I'm going to show you how to turn all of this into this. Hello again. Thanks for joining us on Vacation Station TV. Today, it's time to cook with Jeff. That's right. I'm going to show you another exciting meal. It's hearty, it's tasty, easy, cheap to make, and everyone is going to love it. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. First, you want to start out with a nice fresh onion. You want to get a nice good onion, a good sized one. Make sure you sharpen your knife. I'm using a vegetable knife. And cut it into nice pieces. Cut your onion in half. Not too thick. Then just cut it down. If you cut it like that, if you notice, it breaks into little tiny chunks. Cutting the onion is really important that you cut it right. And you can see that it just breaks apart. So you don't have to do a lot of chopping, and you won't have the tears. You don't want the tears. Right. You can cut it like that if you want. Or you can cut it like that, as long as you cut it with the ribs this way. You can see the ribs like this. That's the way you want to cut it, so that it shows the ribs that way, so that it's much easier to cut. Saves you a lot of time, a lot of hassle, because now once you turn it on its side and cut it, it's already done half the chopping for you. Half the tears, half the time. That's what it's about. Now we cut up the garlic. Remember, these are those really nice elephant garlic, elephant ear garlic, really good stuff. The only place I found, like I said in one of the previous videos, is at Walmart. And it's nice cloves. It's a sweet garlic. It's not, it doesn't have that pungent flavor to it, so you won't get the bad breath and you won't stink up half the house, which is really what you don't want to do. Cut your garlic nice and thin, because you want it to dissolve. You want your garlic to dissolve. Now, if you're the type that likes chunks of garlic, just make it a little bit thicker, and you can have the chunks. It depends on the dish that you're making. Sharpen your knife often, and make sure you wash your hands all the time, especially if you work with garlic and onions. My goodness, that's a nasty smell. How many times I've gone into the store and I'm going, well, you just got done cooking. I can smell it. You smell like a restaurant. And then just dice them up nicely. Just enough. Always be mindful of the blade on the knife. I always sharpen my knives before. Just put it in to the fry pan. I got the big fry pan out again today. There you can see there's the garlic and the onions together. I haven't added anything yet, but I want you to see the consistency. And they will break down by themselves. You want to put in your olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. This is the way to do it. This is a really good meal. You're going to love this. It's so simple to make. I guess the hardest part was just chopping up the vegetables. Really, just get it on in there. Yeah. And I put it up on high at first, just to get the pan nice and hot. Very important to get the pan nice and hot. I use kosher salt. It's better. You shouldn't be using iodized salt. It's not healthy for you. It's really bad for people with diabetes. So you really want to stay away from the iodized salt. It's not really good for you. So I just advise that you use the kosher salt. And in this kind of meal, I'm going to use roughly, not quite a tablespoon, but just shy of a full tablespoon. Don't want it too salty. Definitely not. Now once your onions are starting to cook down nicely, like they're doing now, drop your sweet Italian sausage in there. I picked it up at Kroger, by the way. They have a very fresh ground pork, ground beef. I'm not too hip on getting the Walmart stuff. A lot of the Walmart stuff comes from other places. It's been in other factories, and it's been on a truck, and some of it's been frozen. At Kroger, they do their own butchering right on the property. They grind the meat right there in the back room. I talked to the guy, it must have been about a month or so ago, and that's what convinced me, because I watched what they were doing, and they do a good job, and it's very fresh. It comes right out on a dolly. You can hear the guy grinding it all up. You can see I'm starting to get the sausage in there, starting to brown, mixing it up. Everybody's getting friendly. Hi, how are you? Hi, I'm fine. Hi, Mr. Onion. Hi, Mr. Garlic. Get it nice and brown. I'm still running it at a high because I want to get all the juices out of the onion. You don't want to throw in everything too soon. I know some people whose names will not be told from the family. When they make meatballs, they throw the meatballs right in the sauce. They don't cook them first. You know, when I make meatballs, I'm going to show you how to make fantastic meatballs in the future. You don't take the meat, roll it up, throw it in the sauce. That's not good. You should always fry up your meatballs first, just like you should fry up your meat first with the onion and the garlic, because that's what captures the flavor. The meat captures the flavor of the onion and the garlic. Very important that you do that. Starting to brown nicely, very nicely. Now this is something that I found at Kroger, which they don't often have, and you got to get there at the right time, but no one else carries it. It's ground beef and pork blend. 80% lean, 20% fat. You always want that 20% fat because that's what gives the flavor. So this was a real buy for me, and this was the last package too. If they had more, I would have bought more and frozen. Keep it around. You take the meat out, put it in there. You want to brown this now, because it's half pork, half ground beef. Now it's going to suck up all these juices, and this is really the building block of what I'm making today. It's not a lasagna, but it's going to have the cheeses and stuff in it. And let me tell you, it's a real easy, this is super easy. You just get everything from one pan here. Very filling, very delicious, ooey gooey cheeses and sauces. And what you can do is leave it in the pan, which you get these pans. Got these from Dollar General store. They're $1 each. I got 2 of them. And you can put this on the table and put a trivet under it, and the people can help themselves. If you're having a party, you can have a spoon, and everybody could scoop out their own, so you don't have to do any serving. So it's less work for you. But just try to make it easy for you guys and make it fun. That's what it's all about. As you can see, the meat is browning nicely. It's pretty much broken down. The onions are still there, but a lot of them have broke down. The smell in the air is really very nice. It's onion, garlicky, and a pork smell, a cooking pork smell. Nicely done. That's just about enough. This will serve anywhere from 4 to 8 people, what I'm making here right now. I've got my sauce. I've got traditional classic tomato. You put your sauce in. notice the color of red? Now I'm using a Parmesan Romano pasta sauce. A little bit pinker, not quite as deep red. And that's all about the taste. The taste itself will matter. I want to get that in there good, so they're making this, look, they're swimming in tomato sauce. Nice. Now, this particular dish, I like to give it a little bit of a tang to it. So what I do is I get pizza sauce. You pick this up anywhere. Pizza sauce is a lot of puree, not so much tomato sauce, but it's got a nice bite to it. You put that in, notice how much darker that is. Now, I won't use these others. I'm not making that much. Lower your heat. You stir all this goodness around. Get it all in there. You're probably going to want your sauce to cook down for about 30 minutes on a low heat. You put this on a low but not quite medium. You don't want it to be bubbling, but you want it to cook, so you don't want it too low. But you want to cook it so now the sauce actually mixes with all the flavors, but you don't want it to overcook and you don't want it to be undercooked. Very important. Now here's a little tip for you. If you're the type of person that if you have tomato sauce in a meal and you get maybe a little agita, a little upset stomach, or you get the acid and stuff, here's the cure for that. You get a little bit of sugar. Not enough to sweeten the sauce, but 1 tablespoon of sugar. Sprinkle it around the tomato sauce. It neutralizes the acid in the tomatoes, so you won't get an upset stomach, because it's the acid from the tomatoes that's causing you to have the upset stomach. Now, if you like your sauce sweet, by all means, put more sugar in. Marie loves a sweet Asian sauce. It is very good. You should try it sometime. A sweet Asian sauce. Very, very good. Very, very tasty. As you can see, it's starting to really take shape now. Cooking down. The olive oil is moving around with all that garlic sauce and all that onion stuff. This is the base of the meal. This is how it's going to start. And then what we're going to use are these things here. These are lumicani. Lumicani, it's an Italian, not quite, if you look at it, it's not a shell. I know some of you like shells. Now you can use shells, but the reason I like the lumicani, it's a little thicker and it's got these, bring it in close, these little cavities that soak up the sauce and the cheese that I will be adding. And you have to look around for them. It's from Francesco. It's from Italy. They're not expensive, like $1.50 for a bag. I may use one, but probably 2 bags. And what happens when you bake all this with the cheeses and stuff, they get inside these little nooks and crannies, and every bite is like a party in your mouth. It's a buffet for the teeth and everything. You're going to love it. I know you will. All right, I put the pot of water on, and it is boiling now. As you can see, boiling. It took about 15 minutes for this pot to boil. Now we're going to put the lumiconis. That's what those are called, lumiconis. You can find them in a lot of grocery stores if you look, but I found that the weirder stuff, or the hard to get stuff, you can find, surprisingly, at Big Lots. Big Lots buys out smaller stores, specialty stores, and they stock up on this foreign stuff. A lot of really good foreign foods, chocolates, macaronis like this, sauces and stuff that you just won't find in a regular grocery store, because there's just not much of a call for it. Open the bag, pour them in. You stir them up. The water will start boiling again very shortly. You don't necessarily have to cover it at this point. I have the water on high. Stir it up. There's olive oil in there to keep them from sticking. Now these, I wanted to show you these. This is what the lumacani looks like. It's not quite a shell. It's got a cup area to it and another spot, and it kind of looks like a shell on the top, but it's not. Notice it's a bit thicker than a shell, and that's important for when you're eating these things. These are nice. They taste good, and they'll hold the sauce and the cheeses. Put them in the sauce. In the water you go. Down to J.V. Jones' locker. I took my ricotta cheese. I'm using ricotta cheese once again. I did leave it out. It's been about an hour. I left it room temperature. It's very soft. You can see that it's pliable now. And I don't just make this type of dish, but I wanted to give you a dish that you could use for the holidays. This is an excellent holiday dish. Easy sauce to make. Boil up the noodles, put it in the pan, throw it in the oven, and 45 minutes later it will be done, ready to serve. And that'll cut your cooking time down. Because if you're going to have people over, whether it's a few family members or a lot of family members, you want to feed them up good, right? You want to get them fed up good, but you don't want to spend 2.5 weeks cooking. Nobody does. So let this cook down. It'll be about 10 or 15 minutes or so, and then we'll come back with more. And they are almost done. You want to cook the noodles you want to make them al dente, slightly hard. You can see they move a little bit, but you don't want to make them spongy. Otherwise they're going to break up while we put them into the dish. So stick around. As you can see, the sauce is doing real well. Stick around. Now here's the pie pan that we're going to use. It's a lasagna pan. You could use this, or here's another little hint for you. You get these at Dollar Tree. These are usually 2 for $1, and they come with covers. Now, if you're going to be sending people home with leftovers, takeaways, they actually come with their own covers. So you could put your goodies in the dish and then just put the cover on, hand it on out. Or what I do is I'll fill the dish up, put a cover on it, and then I could stick it in the freezer or the refrigerator. This way I don't have to take out this large thing all the time. These are good for 2 people. Very a neat little idea, and only $1 for 2 of them. Not bad at all. Now that we got the pan out, we've got the sauce that's been cooking for quite a while. It's very good. It's doing well. I'll turn it off now. You want to layer some of this sauce in there so that it doesn't stick to the bottom, because remember, this is going to go into the oven. And now you put your noodles in. Just drop those bad boys in there. Just like a dat. Just like a dat. Now what you want to do is you want to add the sauce to the noodles. Not too much, but you want to get the noodles full of sauce. Isn't that a cool ladle? Isn't that cool? That's been in the family a long time. Sometimes I use the old stuff. Sometimes I don't. But you stir in the noodles so you get them wet with sauce. Stir them up. Try not to be rough on them. You don't want to tear them. So you just kind of go in and move them around and say, excuse me, can I get by? Can I get by? Excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, hot soup, hot soup. And then you've got the basics for this meal almost ready to go in the oven. Next, you want to put your ricotta cheese. You want to mix it in, and as you can see, the sauce is all in there, And by me stirring slowly, the noodles picked up a lot of this sauce and put it in that little carrying area that they have. And that's what you wanted. You want the sauce in there first. You don't want the cheese to get in first, because then the sauce won't get in there. And you want to mix it up just right. That's the way it is. So you take your tub of ricotta cheese. I am using part skimmed. I thought about getting the regular stuff, but I decided not to. Like I said, in the holiday seasons, always trying to cut down on the fats and the things that put on the pounds. I'm sure everybody does that. And I've been on a kick of losing weight because during the Thanksgiving season I was eating too many pies, and that's not good. So now what I'm doing is I'm not overloading it. Like normally if you were doing a lasagna, you'd use 2 of these tubs. I just want the flavor of the ricotta cheese in there. I don't want it to be too overwhelming. So you just mix it up enough. Just enough so that it is everywhere but not in everything. You don't want to do that. Then the cheese comes out. The mozzarella cheese, you put that in. Hey, you get in there like that. This is a real hearty meal. I've never known anybody not to like these things because they're so tasty. And they satisfy the hunger in anybody. Now, if they don't like it, just don't invite them back to the house. If they don't like your cooking, don't invite them back. That's all there is. You know, I got relatives that are real picky. Oh, I can't have that. I can't eat bird. I can't eat this. Well, then don't come. Because I'm making bird, I'm making meat, and that's the way it is going to be. And if you don't like it, go to McDonald's. There, take that. Take that. You can see I didn't over stir anything, but I did get everything around there. Just enough. I didn't overdo it. Some people do it too much, and that's not what you want to do. You just want the flavor in there. Then of course you put more sauce, because everything goes good with sauce, except coffee. Tried coffee and sauce, it doesn't go good. Not at all. Not at all. Just enough sauce. You glide it around, just like that. Just enough. La-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. Like that. And you top it off. Always top it off with the cheese because it kind of binds the top together. No, that brings back memories of making pizzas, I'll tell you that. Make a couple of hundred a day. Gee, that was something else. And I could spin a pizza too, by the way. I can spin them, you know, like the Italian guy, you throw it. Oh yeah, the guy taught me how to do that. I can still spin a pizza. There you have the finished product. Real easy to do. Took what, about 15-20 minutes to do this whole thing? Maybe an hour for me to prep and stuff for that. So if you take an hour out of your time, this is what you're going to get. And when we come back, you're going to see the magic. Look at that. Now tell me that doesn't look good. The nice melted cheese on the top. All across the top, sealing in all that goodness, that cheesy goodness. Let's peel it back and take a look and see what this looks like. Look at that. Look at that. It's all nice and stuck together. Goes right back together. Look at that. Put it back in the box. Now this is a really easy, fun holiday meal for whoever comes by or just you and your family. Really simple to make. You follow the instructions. It took 45 minutes at 350. 45 minutes, 350. If you want to cook it a little fast, you go 375, but 350 is pretty good at 45 minutes, 50 minutes. When it looks like this on the top, and it's bubbling a little bit from the sides, that's pretty good. And you can always just peel it back, just like this, and you can tell right away if it's going to be done. Just peel that back and you see it's all steaming on the inside. So it is all ready. The noodles are fine, they're cooked, the sauce is completely cooked. I even have an extra tray of sauce here. And so simple, so simple. Just you put the spoon in and let people just take what they want. Nice heaping helping. Look at that. Look at that. Tell me that doesn't look good. I didn't put it in the plate center, but there it is. There's the cheese melting, the noodles on the side, all the good stuff on the inside. There's a meal. There it is, just waiting for somebody to sit down and eat it. That's a quick and easy meal, and everyone is going to enjoy it. And remember, if you've got guests and you want to send them home with a little doggy bag, you go to Dollar Tree and you pick up these little portable little go-to-go things, and you just put them in a little bit, and you drop the top on like that, foil side down, just pinch it in, and they got a takeaway, just like that. I hope you enjoyed cooking with Jeff today. Jeff had a good time cooking, and in between takes, it was always a taste or two. You have to test the taste. But I had a lot of fun, and now I'm just going to let it cool, and then portion it out. And the rest is just to eat. That's it. Thanks for joining us on Vacation Station TV. And remember, cooking with Jeff, it's fun because it's easy. Now here's a next, you want to put your ricotta. And so simple, so